The young Kralix had started it all with a simple observation during her academy presentation. Standing before the Galactic Council's junior xenology department, the predator cub had displayed her research with the earnest enthusiasm only youth could muster. "Humans fix broken things," she had declared, her crystalline eyes gleaming. "Not just machines or structures, everything. They cannot help themselves." The presentation had included footage of human engineers repairing a derelict Scythian vessel that had drifted for 3 decades. The crew had been dust for 20 years, but the humans had restored every system anyway, treating the ghost ship with reverence reserved for the living. They had even fixed the captain's personal music player, found corroded in his quarters, and placed it gently back on his desk. They fixed what no one asked them to fix, the young Kralix had explained. They fixed it because it was broken. The presentation had earned her top marks. It had also earned humanity something far more complicated. Commander Sarah Chen first noticed the shift 3 months later. A Kralix dreadnought had arrived at Orbital Station Kepler carrying no cargo manifest, no diplomatic envoys, and no explanation. Just a request to speak with human medical personnel. The Kralix commander had entered the medical bay with his second officer, a younger male whose scales still bore the bright patterns of adolescence. They had carried something between them wrapped in thermal cloth. "We were told," the elder Kralix had said, his translator crackling with emotion it wasn't designed to convey, "that humans fix broken things." They had unwrapped a stasis chamber. Inside lay a Kralix female, her breathing shallow, her scales faded to gray. Medical readouts painted her situation in harsh clarity. Terminal genetic collapse, multiple organ failure, neural degradation. The younger Kralix's mother, dying by degrees. Sarah had looked at the readouts, then at the 2 Kralix warriors who had crossed 3 sectors of space on what had to have been rumor and desperate hope. She should have explained that human medicine had limits, that xenobiology was still an emerging field, that Kralix physiology was fundamentally different from human baseline. Instead, she had heard herself say, "Let me call my team." That had been the first. Within a standard month, they had arrived in dozens, then hundreds. Not the sick or injured seeking routine treatment, though those came too. No, these were the others. The ones bearing burdens no medical textbook addressed. A Thurian engineer appeared carrying the AI core of his ship, damaged in a solar flare. "The personality matrix is corrupted," he had explained, his tentacles trembling. "She has served my family for 4 generations. The Thurian Tech Council say she is beyond repair, that I should let her go. But the Kralix cub said humans fix broken things." Dr. Marcus Webb had spent 72 hours in the quantum programming lab, rewriting corrupted code line by line, using techniques that hadn't been taught because they shouldn't have worked. The AI had awakened confused but intact, and the Thurian had wept through his respiratory spiracles. Then came the Vexari widow with her mate's memory crystal, cracked in the accident that had taken his life. Vexari culture held that a broken memory crystal meant the deceased spirit was trapped in fragments, unable to reach their afterlife. The crystal was considered irreparable by every Vexari artisan. The human technicians had studied the exotic matter structure for days, then used a combination of quantum adhesives and techniques, borrowed from terrestrial stained glass restoration. When the widow had held the restored crystal to the light and seen her mate's memories play back whole and clear, she had touched her forehead to each human's hands in the gesture of eternal gratitude. Commander Chen had tried to establish protocols to manage the flood. But how did one triage heartbreak? How did you prioritize which broken dream to fix first? The Scythian who brought her daughter's toy, destroyed in a house fire that had taken everything else. The Korvath soldier carrying fragments of his squadron's banner, recovered from a battlefield grave. The Thrin mother with her child's defective growth chamber, rejected by manufacturers as a lost cause. They came with machines that couldn't be fixed and memories that shouldn't have mattered. They came with problems that had no solutions and hopes that defied logic. They came because a young Kralix had told them that humans fix broken things. The station's human personnel had adapted. Engineers learned xenoarchaeology to repair ancestral artifacts. Doctors studied alien philosophy to understand what healing meant across cultures. Technicians became counselors, and counselors became engineers. They worked through sleep cycles and meal times, driven by something deeper than duty. Admiral Okonkwo had finally called Chen to his office. Sarah, you need to establish limits. The council is concerned. They say we're creating unrealistic expectations, that we can't fix everything, that we're setting ourselves up for failure. Chen had looked at the data pad in her hands showing the current queue of requests. 47 vessels waiting. 47 hearts, metaphorical or literal, brought to humanity's doorstep. With respect, Admiral, they're right. We can't fix everything. Good, then but we can try. Okonkwo had studied her for a long moment. Then he had smiled, the expression of someone recognizing his own reflection. How many more staff do you need? The young Kralix who had started it all had visited the station on an academic tour. She had watched human engineers working on a Thrin artifact. 3 of them hunched over components that predated human spaceflight, treating each piece with infinite care. I was correct, she had said to Chen. Humans fix broken things. Chen had looked around the bay at her team, at the aliens waiting with their treasures and tragedies, at the impossible becoming routine. We try to, she had replied. We don't always succeed, but we try. The Kralix had tilted her head, a gesture of deeper understanding. That is not what makes you fixers. What makes you fixers is this. When something is broken, you cannot look away. You must at least try. It is not in you to do otherwise. She had been right, of course. The humans had known it even before the young predator had put it into words. They fixed things not because they always could, but because they couldn't bear not to try. So the fleet kept coming, bringing their broken things and broken hearts, and humanity kept trying to fix them, not because it was easy, not because they always succeeded, but because it was what humans did. They fixed broken things, even when the broken thing was hope itself.